Before we begin, if you appreciate real stories about real coins, history, and hidden value, take 1 second right now to subscribe to this channel, because the coin you're about to hear about proves that small things, ignored for decades, can quietly become powerful pieces of history. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine South Africa in the late 1970s. A country in transition, an economy under pressure, metal prices rising, and everyday change slowly disappearing from people's pockets. By 1977, the half-cent was already a ghost of daily life. It was too small to matter at the shop counter, too weak to fight inflation, and almost forgotten by the public. And yet, in that exact year, the South African Mint quietly struck the 1977 half-cent coin, not for circulation, not for the streets, not for wallets, but only for mint sets. That single decision changed everything about this coin's future. This is not a coin that passed through thousands of hands. It never jingled in trousers, never slid across a wooden counter, never paid for bread or milk. From the moment it was born, it was sealed, protected, preserved. And that is where its power begins. The 1977 half-cent represents the very end of an era. It is the final whisper of South Africa's smallest denomination, a denomination that could no longer survive in the real world. When governments stop making coins for circulation and move them only into mint sets, it is a signal that the coin is already obsolete. But for collectors, obsolescence is not death. It is the beginning of rarity physically. The coin is modest, almost humble. Bronze in composition, warm in color, with a weight and feel that reminds you of a time when coins were made to last. On one side, the national emblem stands firm, a reminder of authority, order, and statehood. On the other, the simple denomination tells a story of how little money once meant something. This simplicity is exactly what makes the coin powerful. There is no excess, no decoration for show. It is honest metal, honest design, and honest history. What makes the 1977 half-cent truly special is not just that it was mint set only, but that very few people at the time cared. Mint sets were often bought by older collectors, institutions, or people with foresight. Many were lost, broken apart, or poorly stored over the decades. Some coins developed spots, scratches, or handling marks when sets were dismantled. Perfect examples became scarcer with each passing year. For men who understand value, this coin speaks a familiar language. It speaks of discipline, patience, and long-term thinking. It reminds us of tools kept clean in a toolbox, watches maintained carefully, and documents stored safely. This coin rewards those same instincts. There is also something deeply psychological about the half-cent. It represents the smallest unit of value a nation once recognized. When that disappears, it marks a shift in society. Prices rise, purchasing power shrinks, and the world moves faster. Holding this coin today is like holding the final page of a chapter that can never be reopened. Collectors around the world pay attention to coins like this because they sit at the intersection of three powerful forces: low mintage, end-of-series status, and preserved condition. The 1977 half-cent has all three. It is not flashy. It does not shout. It waits quietly for the right eyes to notice it. Older collectors, especially men who grew up handling real coins, understand something younger generations often miss. A coin doesn't need to be gold to be valuable. It needs a story, a reason for existence, and a reason for disappearance. This coin has all of that. Now let's talk about the moment everyone waits for, the value. Not the fantasy numbers, not exaggerated claims, but the real, honest market reality that serious collectors respect. A 1977 South Africa half-center in average mint set condition, with light toning and no major flaws, typically carries a value in the range of $20 to $40. Coins that remain in pristine, near-perfect condition, with strong strike, original surfaces, and no spotting, can command between $60 and $120, especially when demand rises. Exceptional examples, certified or preserved in untouched original mint packaging, have been known to reach higher levels when the right buyer recognizes its end-of-era significance. This coin will not make you rich overnight, but it was never meant to. It is a slow burner, a collector's coin, a piece that gains respect over time. And for those who understand coins, history, and patience, That is exactly the kind of value that lasts.
Imagine holding in your hand a coin so humble in appearance, so ordinary at first glance, that most people would toss it aside without a second thought. A small bronze disc, about 16 millimeters across, rubbed edge, the faint sheen worn by time. Yet this coin, a 1970 South Africa half-center, carries within it the weight of history, rarity, mystery, and an almost unbelievable value. In 1970 the South African Mint in Centurion struck over 57 million of these half-cent coins. On paper, that suggests plenty. But over time, most of them have vanished, worn down in pockets, lost under floorboards, melted, discarded, forgotten. A very small fraction remain in excellent condition, untouched by harsh use, preserving their design, the coat of arms on one side, the denomination and date on the other, the detail of bronze and fine ridges still distinct. Each surviving specimen is a link across decades to a nation in a moment of change, a symbol of colonial ties, apartheid era, the complex identity of South Africa in that era. Collectors speak often of condition. A coin that is circulated shows wear, smoothing of designs, loss of sharp edges. An uncirculated coin still possesses its fine original features. In this case, even coins that are visibly worn have interest, but those kept pristine could be almost priceless. The rarity of high-grade examples elevates its status among numismatists. Beyond just numismatic technicalities, there is emotional value. Imagine this coin pass from hand to hand, in a vendor's tray, in a child's piggy bank, in a dusty desk drawer. It witnessed the ordinary everyday life of 1970 South Africa, the sound of change clinking in pockets, the rhythms of commerce, the shifting political and social landscape. Now imagine it preserved, almost timeless, its bronze tone deepening, yet its details still alive. So what is this coin worth today? In most collector catalogs, listings for a 1970 South Africa half-center in circulated condition show values so modest many would consider them pocket change, fractions of a dollar. In uncirculated or mint condition, the value rises significantly, especially if accompanied by verified provenance, documented preservation, exceptional luster, perfect rims or minimum imperfections. The market for rare coins is unpredictable, demand fluctuates, grading standards vary, but passion among collectors is constant. People will pay more not just for the coin, but for its story, its condition, its rarity. Here is where imagination stretches into the unbelievable. One such 1970 half-cent specimen, in what could be called near-perfect, practically untouched condition, recently captured headlines. Experts agreed it was so far above the norm in preservation that it belonged in a realm of legend among coin collectors. The metal still shining with subtle sheen, design lines crisp, lettering sharp, edge ridges so finely defined that light danced along them. The provenance traceable, the handling minimal, the conservation meticulous.